There is a reason the strongest warriors of history were often the quietest in the room. Their silence was not emptiness, it was strategy. In the Shaolin tradition, silence is not a weakness to be filled. It is self-mastery, a discipline that shields your spirit from scattering into the noise of the world. Those who guard their words hold a rare kind of strength, because every word unspoken is energy preserved, and every pause deepens focus. In the monastery, a student could spend months in silence before a single teaching was given. This was not punishment, it was training. Silence forces the mind to settle, to strip away distraction, to sharpen awareness. By keeping the tongue still, the student's attention no longer leaked into gossip or opinion, it gathered, like water filling a deep well. Only then was he ready for the next step. There is an old account of Shaolin fighters who traveled across China. They carried themselves with such calm presence that even their enemies felt unsettled. Few words were spoken, yet their silence weighed more than threats. It was the kind of silence that made others hesitate, the kind that breaks resistance before the fight begins. In this teaching, I will share why silence is not the absence of power, but its highest form. You will learn how it sharpens clarity, preserves your inner fire, and prepares you for victory before you act. Stay with me until the end, because this lesson carries the hidden discipline that few ever master, yet it changes everything once understood. Subscribe now and walk with us in silence, strength, and mastery. Before a single strike is taught, before a fist is raised, there is silence. This is how the path begins. In Shaolin, the student is not rushed into movement. He is first asked to sit, to breathe, to face the storm within. Only then can the body become an instrument of clarity, rather than a tool of chaos. When I was young in the monastery, I thought strength meant faster kicks, harder punches, sharper forms, but my teacher stopped me. He said, "If your mind is unsteady, your body will betray you. Sit first. See yourself clearly." For weeks I was told to do nothing but breathe and watch my own thoughts. It felt endless. But then something changed. The noise inside began to settle, like dust falling to the ground. What remained was focus. This is why meditation always precedes the practice of martial arts. It is not about relaxation, it is preparation. A quiet mind sees openings others miss. A quiet mind acts without hesitation. A quiet mind transforms effort into precision. In the courtyard, the students who meditated deeply were always the ones whose movements seemed effortless, as if their bodies already knew what was needed. The discipline of stillness teaches you to trust the moment. When you step onto the training floor with a calm heart, your body aligns with your intent. You no longer fight yourself. Energy flows where it must. Steps land where they should. Even the most complex form becomes simple when the mind no longer interferes. This is the hidden strength of Shaolin movement, born from silence, action born from stillness. Without it, practice is only noise. With it, every motion becomes a reflection of the mind at peace. There is a moment, sitting in silence, when the breath feels steady and clear. But mindfulness does not end there. It is not only the rise and fall of the chest, it is the act of seeing the mind itself, like watching clouds drift across the sky, each thought forming, passing, dissolving. In the old temples, students were guided to notice more than the body. The masters would say, "Do not fight your thoughts, do not chase them either. Watch them." At first, the mind resisted. Some thoughts carried pride, others carried fear. Some promised comfort, others stirred anger. The untrained student tried to push them away or hold them too tightly, but with time, a shift occurred. The thoughts were no longer enemies or treasures. They were simply visitors. This is the deeper practice of mindfulness, to see without judgment, to allow thoughts to appear and fade like echoes in an empty hall. Slowly, the patterns reveal themselves. You see what drives you forward: ambition, compassion, discipline, and you see what holds you back: doubt, envy, the endless hunger for approval. When these roots become visible, the path grows clearer. The Shaolin way teaches that mastery is not in silencing the mind, but in understanding it. A distracted fighter cannot strike with precision. A restless spirit cannot walk with purpose, but one who observes the mind without clinging begins to discover freedom. In this state, discipline deepens. Actions are no longer ruled by impulse, words no longer spill without thought. Each choice rises from clarity, not confusion. This is mindfulness beyond the breath, a steady gaze into the heart of the self, where mastery begins. In the training halls of Shaolin, nothing is wasted. Every gesture, every step, every strike is measured. A master does not throw his fist to prove strength. He moves only when the moment calls for it. This discipline of restraint is not weakness, but wisdom. It teaches that power without control is chaos, and control without patience is emptiness. The same rule that governs the body also governs the mind. To restrain the hand is easier than to restrain a thought or a word. Yet the true training lies there. When anger rises, when pride demands to be heard, restraint becomes the silent strike. To hold back a careless word is as great a victory as landing a perfect blow. There is an old teaching told to young monks: the tiger does not roar with every breath. The meaning is simple: reserve your strength, let silence carry its weight, and act only when the path is clear. In this way, the tiger's power is feared not because it is always displayed, but because it is always contained. In daily life, restraint is the shield that guards your energy. When you choose not to react too quickly, you preserve clarity. When you choose not to speak too soon, you protect wisdom from being scattered. Just as a strike delivered too early misses its mark, words spoken without patience lose their truth. Restraint, then, is a form of mastery. It transforms reaction into response, noise into silence, haste into timing. The world moves fast, but the disciplined spirit does not rush. It waits, it observes, and when the moment is right, it acts with precision. This is the essence of Shaolin discipline: power guided by patience, action born from clarity. The greatest battles are rarely seen by others. They are fought in silence, behind the eyes, in the restless chambers of the mind. The Shaolin path reminds us that the true fight is not at the ring's edge, not in the clash of fists or the roar of crowds. It is the battle to govern your own heart, to bring discipline where chaos once ruled. Many spend their lives seeking proof of worth in the eyes of others. They chase recognition, applause, and praise. Yet this kind of victory fades as quickly as it comes. What endures is the victory within, when doubt no longer rules your choices, when fear no longer dictates your path. That is the fight worth winning. There is a story told in the monastery of a young monk who wanted to be acknowledged as the strongest. He trained longer, struck harder, demanded the notice of his peers, yet his master remained unmoved. Frustrated, the monk asked why his efforts went unseen. The master answered, "You want others to see your power, but you have not yet faced the shadow in your own mind. Until then, your strength is only for show." The lesson pierced deeper than any blade. To master yourself is to meet your own shadow without turning away. It means recognizing impatience, pride, envy, and taming them as you would a wild beast. It means practicing discipline not for an audience, but because discipline itself refines the soul. When the inner fight is won, the outer world shifts naturally. You no longer seek validation because your steps already carry truth. The need to prove disappears, replaced by quiet confidence. This is the victory unseen, yet it is the foundation of all mastery. The art of timing is one of the most subtle lessons on the path. A master does not rush into action, nor does he cling to hesitation. He studies the rhythm of life the way one listens to a drum beat, knowing when to step forward and when to hold still. Every strike, every movement, every decision has its season. To act too soon is to scatter energy. To act too late is to lose the moment. In Shaolin training, this truth is revealed in combat practice. The novice throws strikes endlessly, hoping one will land. The master waits. He observes. His body is still, yet alive with readiness. Then, with a single motion, he delivers the blow that ends the fight. Timing, not force, makes the difference. This principle extends beyond the courtyard. Life too carries its turning points. There are days when the current shifts, when destiny itself feels closer. These moments are not ordinary, they require awareness. August 25th, or any significant threshold in your journey is such a time. The choice is not simply to act or remain silent, but to sense the flow of events and respond in harmony with it. Ancient wisdom teaches that patience is not inactivity. It is active waiting and alert stillness. The archer draws the bow but holds his release until the target aligns. The farmer plants the seed, yet trusts the season to bring the harvest. In the same way, discipline guides you to recognize the precise instant when action carries weight and when silence holds greater power. The one who learns this art no longer wastes strength. Every word, every step, every decision becomes deliberate, and in that patience lies mastery, the kind that turns fleeting moments into lasting transformation. The noise of the world never ends. One voice calls you toward ambition, another toward comfort. Distractions pull from every side. Obligations, desires, fears, and countless opinions. It is easy to be torn apart by these currents, chasing one and then another, never finding peace. The Shaolin path teaches something different. When chaos rises, return to stillness. In the monastery, young students were often tested not through combat but through noise. Masters would send them into crowded markets where shouting, bargaining, and clamor filled the air. The lesson was simple. If the mind is disturbed by the world's noise, discipline is incomplete. Stillness must be carried within, not sought outside. This stillness is not withdrawal from life. It is the center point, the unmoving axis around which everything else turns. Like the hub of a wheel, it holds steady while the spokes spin in every direction. When you learn to return there, no distraction has power over you. Breath is the doorway. With each inhale, you gather yourself back. With each exhale, you release the weight of noise. Slowly, you return to that inner space where calm rests untouched. From this place, decisions become clearer. The pull of chaos no longer dictates your steps. The discipline of stillness is not easy, but it is freedom. It means you can walk into noise without being consumed by it, meet conflict without being shaken, face uncertainty without being lost. The world will always pull in 100 directions, but the one who has trained in stillness carries a strength that cannot be torn away. This is the essence of Shaolin practice, to return again and again to the quiet center where true mastery begins. Breath is the thread that binds the unseen to the seen. It carries life into the body and steadiness into the mind. When the breath is shallow, thoughts scatter. When the breath is steady, awareness deepens. This is why the masters call it a bridge, a passage between inner silence and outward action. In the old temples, students were often told to take 3 breaths before answering a question. It was not to delay, but to align. The pause allowed emotion to soften, allowed clarity to rise. What followed was not a reaction born of impulse, but words shaped with intention. Over time, this practice transformed not only speech, but the way a student carried himself in all things. Consider how often words are thrown like arrows, sharp and uncontrolled. They leave wounds long after they are spoken. The Shaolin path teaches restraint. Pause, breathe, then decide. Sometimes the breath reveals that silence is stronger than speech. Other times it allows the right words to surface, words that carry weight without waste. Breathing in this way is more than technique. It is discipline. It trains the self to return to balance before stepping forward. In combat, the breath steadies the strike. In life, it steadies the tongue. Both require mastery. When speech emerges from breath, it carries a different power. It is no longer tangled in anger or haste. It is rooted, deliberate, alive with clarity. The listener feels the difference because such words strike not with force, but with truth. To live this way is to honor the bridge of breath. Each inhale gathers presence, each exhale guides action, and between them lies the choice to speak or not. This is where true mastery begins. The most profound victories are the ones no one else sees. In Shaolin, a student is not praised for defeating another, but for defeating his own restlessness. Quiet victories carry a depth that loud triumphs cannot. They are not displayed in front of crowds, but felt within the heart where discipline and awareness finally meet. There is a story told of a monk who was challenged by warriors traveling through the mountains. He declined their fight, offering them tea instead. To the outsiders, it seemed like retreat, even weakness, but the monk had already won the true battle. He had mastered the urge to prove himself, to fight for pride. His victory was invisible to them, yet it freed him from the chains of ego. Real winning often looks like restraint, patience, and silence. It is the strength to keep walking your path without needing the world's applause. It is the ability to face temptation, anger, or fear, and to step past them without anyone knowing the struggle you just overcame. These are the victories that shape character, the quiet milestones that build unshakable presence. The Shaolin path teaches that mastery is inward knowing. You do not need to shout about your progress, because progress reveals itself in how you move, how you respond, how you live. A tree does not announce when it grows, yet with each passing season it becomes stronger, its roots deeper. So it is with those who train the spirit. Quiet victories accumulate. They turn doubt into confidence, distraction into focus, reaction into calm. While the world measures success by noise and display, the path of mastery measures it by inner stillness. Inward knowing becomes the only proof required, and in that you are already free. There is a power in silence that many overlook. In a world where people rush to explain themselves, to justify their choices, to defend every step, silence becomes rare. Yet the Shaolin path teaches that silence is not emptiness, it is part of the process. Growth often happens beneath the surface, where no one else can see. Like a seed resting in the dark earth, transformation unfolds quietly, without announcement. During training, students were sometimes instructed to hold their questions even when they burned for answers. The master would say, "Trust the silence." In time, the lesson revealed itself through practice, not through words. At first, this felt frustrating, even confusing. But later the students understood silence itself was shaping their patience, their resilience, their faith in the unseen rhythm of becoming. It takes discipline to resist the urge to explain yourself to the world, to let others wonder, to let them question, while you remain steady in your path. This is not stubbornness, it is mastery. It means you are no longer seeking validation outside, you are trusting the alignment happening within. Silence is the soil where strength takes root. It protects your growth from being disturbed too early. It allows your focus to deepen, unshaken by opinions or doubts. And most of all, it teaches you to be content with not being understood. For true becoming does not require an audience. Learn to rest in that quiet space. Let your progress remain hidden until it is unshakable. When the time is right, your presence will speak louder than any explanation. Until then, silence is not a gap. It is the ground where mastery is born. You are becoming, and that is enough.